I'm dancing to my own beat because that's what I do. So this year, I've decided I'm going to share my knowledge. What? Crazy concept, sharing knowledge. Who does that? Me. I'm doing that. So I'm on Clubhouse right now, and I'm on live on Facebook right now. And I'm doing this because I think it's really imperative that people understand social emotional learning, what it is, what it looks like, and how we as a society can come together and be better. Let's be better together, right? So I'm going to start off by giving the history of social emotional learning. It kind of came to fruition back in 1994 by the Fetzer Institute. And skipping past all of the trial and error period, probably in about 2011, which is not that long ago, it became a nationwide statement. It became a nationwide issue. And data started being collected on it. And so now here we are, 2021, me explaining the way that I see social emotional learning can help us bridge the gap, right? Bring us together. What is social emotional learning? It is a process at which we apply our knowledge, skills, and attitudes to develop healthy identities, to manage our emotions, and achieve our personal and collective goals as a society by showing empathy for other people. That's it. We got goals individually and collectively. I'm not even going to talk about what happened at the U.S. Capitol. I'm not talking about that today. But just keep that on the back burner and think about what I'm saying today. I'm going to repeat what social emotional learning is just for the people in the back. It's a process in which we acquire and apply our knowledge, skills, and knowledge, skills, and attitudes to develop healthy identities, to manage our emotions, achieve our personal and collective goals by showing empathy for others, to maintain relationships, and to be better for our society, right? So I'm going to go into some more detail about social emotional learning in this live broadcast and also on my Clubhouse feed. Raise your hand in Clubhouse if you have any questions or you need to speak or something like that. I'm more than welcome to allow you in. On Facebook Live, please leave comments and other information for me so I can interact with you as well. So, social emotional learning helps us manage and understand our emotions while we respond to the world around us. The world's going to keep going. It's going to keep spinning whether we're interacting with it or not. So we have to understand individually how the world around us gets in us and affects us and how we can manage that, right? So let's start really managing ourselves. Therefore, we can be more of an asset to society. This includes how we process empathy. This includes maintaining healthy relationships and boundaries with people in our relationships that can be partnerships, that can be people we fellowship with. Whatever ship you're in, what kind of boundaries have you set for those ships? So we need to understand how to do that effectively to where we're not offensive, we're not egotistical, we're not storming the Capitol, right? So there's a healthy way to do that. And so that's what I'm talking about today. There are 5 core concepts of social emotional learning. And I'm going to go through those competencies. But first, I would like you guys to really think about how what has happened in the past of your life has affected you emotionally, that you could not control. You couldn't manage your emotions. I can remember when my father passed away 6 years ago. I thought I was ready. He had brain cancer. He was in remission, and then it got bad. Then we put him on hospice. I thought I was ready. But when it happened, I wasn't as ready as I thought I was. So that death took a toll on me more than I had ever prepared myself for. I mean, it took me about 3 years to really get over it, only because I didn't manage that side of my emotional intelligence well about losing someone that close. That's the first person I ever lost that was really close to me. So if you've lost someone really, really close to you, you know what I'm talking about. But if you haven't, then there's grief counseling. There's all kind of things you can do to help you manage those emotions and get through that grief and that trauma. So let's get back to the 5 core competency areas of social emotional learning. The first one is self-awareness. To our core, we have to be aware of ourselves. Nobody can tell you about you except you. You know who you are. So social awareness is the ability to understand one's own emotions, thoughts, values, and how that influence behaviors across your shifts, right? So you know your strengths, you know your limitations, you know where you're confident and where you're weak at, right? So we need to understand who we are to be more socially emotional in the world around us. If you are unstable and irrational, then things like Capitol happen. Things like what happened at the U.S. Capitol, those things happen when we are not self-aware. You can't consciously sit and say, I'm going to go do this, and then not think about the consequences of your actions. I'm just saying. The second core competency is self-management. This is the ability to manage one's emotional thoughts and behaviors effectively in different situations. And this also helps achieve goals and aspirations. So once you become self-aware, then you start to manage yourself to where you're achieving your goals and your aspirations. You have moved forward into social emotional learning. Now, the second side of that social emotional learning is social awareness. That's the third competency. The ability to understand the perspective of and empathize with others, including those from different backgrounds, cultures, and contexts, is social awareness. So not only do you have to be aware of yourself, not only do you have to manage yourself, but you also have to be aware and diverse so you can be empathetic to other people and cultures. Like, Asian cultures, bowing and not touching, and Middle Eastern cultures and women and not looking men in the eye and coverings. Like, you're going to have to be aware of those things to be emotionally learning the society around you. Again, today we're talking about social emotional learning. The fourth core competency is relationship skills. This is very important in social emotional learning. The ability to establish and maintain healthy and supportive relationships and to effectively navigate settings with diverse individuals and groups. So it's just like going into Walmart. You're going to have very diverse people in there. You're going to have different cultures, races, religions. You're going to have a lot of diverse people, and you can try to avoid as much as you want to. But I think healthy goals, healthy relationship skills, put yourself out there. And if you see some, I like bok choy. It's a vegetable that the Asian culture uses in their salads and in their cooking. And I've had it before, but I had to get out of my comfort zone, and I asked an Asian person at Walmart, and I was like, how do you cook this? I cook it like cabbage, but it didn't really turn out the way I wanted it to. So they told me, and I bought some, I took it home, and I became more aware, but I also understood the culture, and I formed not a relationship, but I put myself out there. So relationship skills is very important when you're socially, emotionally learning. The fifth core competency of SEL is responsible decision making. This is a big one. The ability to make caring and constructive choices about your personal behavior and social interactions across a diverse situation. So let's go back through the 5. Self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, relationship skills, and responsible decision making. Those are the 5 core competency areas for social emotional learning. Now, let me quickly talk about, because I'm only going to be on here for 5 more minutes, quickly talk about how we apply those 5 competencies. It starts in your home. It starts with your children, with your parents, your siblings, your cousins. I mean, it starts in your home, and then it branches out to your extended family, and then to your community, and then to your city, right? And so that's what I'm trying to do in Oklahoma City right now. I'm trying to put something together to where social emotional learning is taught in the community and understood, so we can be better together, so we can fill in the gaps and have better relationships with not only our politicians or our police force or our pastors in the community, but better relationships with each other. You know, our city's ever growing. It's very, very diverse, and until there's knowledge to fill in those gaps, we will continue to be separated. The north side from the east side, from the south side to the west side. Like, it's ridiculous the way some people think. And I'm not saying everyone thinks like that. I'm just saying some people. And when you're only as strong as your weakest link. And I, for one, know that we can be stronger than what we portray to be. And we all got to pull that weak link all the way up. And that's just one person at a time, right? So once we get our families, our extended families, and then those connected to us, and then our communities all kind of filled in on the same page, where that knowledge is there, the resources are there, help is there, life coaching is there. You can look me up, grindthegrit.com. You can look at some things on my website, my YouTube channel. You can follow me on Clubhouse. So those are the things that will help us in the long run. I know it's January 2021. I'm definitely working hard on this. I hope and pray that you all join me in an effort to educate on social emotional learning and make it bigger than what it is right now for me. I've been sitting on this for about 2 years. I've done a lot of research. I'm getting ready to get into starting to get some data. I'm going to start sending out some surveys and getting some data in the community and see where the biggest need is. Which 5 areas of the competencies does the community I live in need? Is it self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, relationship skills, or responsible decision making? Because all 5 of those are very important if we're going to grow together. Social emotional learning is very important in this day and age, and we can tie that all back into being spiritual and being God-led and all of those things. But I understand, as a responsible decision maker, not everyone follows the doctrine that I follow, and I respect that. I just want the 5 core competencies understood so our community can be better. So again, if you have any questions, reach out to me, grindthegritllc@gmail.com. You can call me at 405-757-7488 or text me there. Or you can visit my website and contact me on that. That's grindthegrit.com. I'm on all social media sites. I have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Clubhouse. So I appreciate everyone's attention. I talked earlier this week in my Facebook group about who cares, and caring is suffering of the mind. So when you care for something and you care for someone, you're suffering in your mind about that. And this is something that I don't mind suffering for in my mind. So I hope that you care about this just as much as I do. If you want to help or aid, please reach out to me by contacting me on any form of social media. And I hope you have a great day. My 20 minutes is up. Thank you. I love you so much. Bye-bye.